This virus is spreading like wildfire and it's getting bad. 7.16 million cases, 9,450, 23 deaths in the state. over 200 new cases with 1 new death. And since that time, 13.8% been positive, 69.3K haven't had positive tests, 502.5K have had tests taken. Since July 3rd, over 3,300 people in ICU, 29,720. Vaccination rate, 75.3 have had at least 1 dose, 21.5 million. Fully vaccinated, 18 million, 63.1%. In the U.S., almost 6 million doses given, 220 million people have been fully vaccinated. And 67.5% of the population has been fully vaccinated. But I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, this is spreading like wildfire. Super spreaders are happening because of the fact that, I mean, all these super spreaders are really happening because not everyone wants to get the vaccine. They're going out partying, whatever, not realizing that there's a pandemic going on. So, what really needs to happen is we have to start following these tips. Like over a bunch of times. First of all, the wearing of a mask. I know it's tough for you. A mask all day can be to wear a mask all day, but you gotta try to stop the spread. Social distancing, 6 feet or more. So, yeah. Social distancing is more than 6 feet. Hand washing. It's very critical you wash your hands every time. Biggest mistake people make is put their hands in the soap, wash their hands, and done. No, that's less than 20 seconds. 20 seconds in water. Wash your hands, the back of your hands, especially get under your fingernails. Then you're done. That's 20 seconds. And the water should not be over 110 degrees. Traveling. If you're already vaccinated and boosted, you can travel. But if you're already vaccinated twice, just take extra precautions. Plus, also, if you have COVID, you need to stay quarantined in your house 5 days. Up to the 5th day, get tested again. You're negative, you're good. Positive, that's another 5 days. Also, if you're riding the bus, it's the same thing. Just make sure you take extra precautions. If you're at work, same thing. Take extra precautions when it comes to this. Mask, social distancing, whatever. Also, if you have COVID, get the vaccine immediately. Then the side effects will go down. If your child is under 5, they're eligible to get the vaccine, and they may have questions about the side effects of that vaccine. So it's best to ask your doctor. Also, if you're under 2, the child cannot wear a mask. If you have a medical condition like asthma, then you are exempt from that. Just let them know, yeah, I have asthma, I can't wear a mask. Then okay, and make sure you always disinfect the area. If you're still quarantined, you cannot leave the house except to get to your mail or take out the trash. That's all. The only time you're able to leave quarantine is if you're checking the mail or taking out the trash. That's it. All right. Coming up next, our Back to School Week continues with sleeping in class. The biggest one ever. When you sleep in class, you're ignoring the number one reason that you're there, and that's to learn. From Blood Blitz Comedy and 2 clips in the principal's office when we return. Up front tonight, one of the problems that there's in class, which is especially one that all teachers dislike, are students falling asleep during lectures and classwork. I have to admit, it sometimes can get very difficult when your eyelids feel like 50 pounds and you physically impossible trying to stay awake. You need to stay awake, because teachers are to respect in the classroom. I know it's hard for all of us to get up in the morning, but teachers do it earlier than other kids, so there's really no excuse. Watch these 3 clips.
One of the problems we have in class, which is especially one that teachers dislike, are students falling asleep. Falling asleep doing lectures, falling asleep doing classwork. I have to admit, it sometimes can get very difficult when your eyelids feel like 50 pounds and it's physically impossible to stay awake. We gotta try to stay awake, because teachers deserve their respect, especially in a classroom. I know it's hard for all of us to wake up in the morning, but our teachers do it even earlier than us, so there's really no excuse.
So with a Roth IRA, the money's going to be deposited in your account after taxes. Okay, so when you withdraw the money when you're 59 and a half years old, you won't have to pay taxes at that time. And see, if you note here on this bottom bullet point, there's this fantastic concept called the Rule of 72, which helps you determine how many years it will take you to double your money, regardless of how much money you start with. You simply take 72. Rob, wake up. No, it's not about you, Rob, huh? So you're asleep. Huh? Oh, the show's not on Rob today, so Rob's asleep, huh? Excuse me. Oh my God, what's going on? Huh? How about some Febreze, huh? How's that gonna do? Is that gonna wake you up, huh? How about a staple to your head? Huh? Rob? Huh? There's a fire, Rob. Rob, there's a fire. You hear the fire, Rob? Huh? You like loud noises, Rob? Huh? Rob, good morning. We're on page 0. Turn to page 0.
Chocolate muffins are happening.
I got it. Oh, hey, don't turn off the TV yet, guys. It's Friday. We're gonna watch Rob's Ranch right now.
Rob's Ranch? Too important. Where? Chambers, what gives? You lied to me.
I'm tired of you guys falling asleep in class. Yeah, I'm tired too, Chambers. How am I going to get you guys to wake up? Because apparently teaching's not working. How about some music? Oh, let's go, Ricky. Ricky's awake, everybody, huh? Oh, Ricky. All right, huh? Yeah, Ricky, huh? Sleep Sleeping in class, huh? Sleeping in class, huh? Huh? Hey, how you like this, huh? Oh, yeah. Good. That's real good. Not even one student. At least I have Max. Even though he ruins the show every morning on Channel 14, he files a mean paper. You were the only one I trusted!
And that's why we never fall asleep in class. Now, there are 2 clips from the principal's office. That are similar to this. Here's one called Narcoleptic Nappers.
We know the deal, right? Excuse me. We know the deal, right? My approach is very hands-on. I think it's extremely important for a principal to have a presence within their building. All right, I'll stay for one more, but I've got other rooms I need to hit here. They have to be visible to their teachers. They have to be visible to their students. They need to be able to recognize who the leader in the building is. Something every teacher has to deal with at one point or another is a student or students who want to take a little nap during class. You all right, Chris? Yeah? I'm gonna take these 2 sleeping boys outside and see what they missed in the lesson. Everything all right?
Yeah.
So do we sleep on a routine basis? Is this something we do all the time? I mean, we need to be awake to absorb the information.
Oh, I was listening. I wasn't really sleeping.
We always listen with our eyes closed? Let's start with the easy question. Who's the main characters?
Romeo and Juliet.
And what's the source of conflict?
We haven't read the riddle to that part yet.
There's this phrase I like to live by: public perception is reality. So you want to give the perception that you're listening, which means we should keep our eyes open and our head up, because then I walk in and I believe you're listening, and I get the right impression. We'll keep our heads up, we'll pay attention, so we're ready for the exam. Okay. Thank you. Dozing off in class, I don't think it's anything that's deserving of a detention. I'll send them back in. They deal with a little embarrassment. I think they'll stay awake.
When I was in school, you slept in class, they make you wake up. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I never slept in class. I never did. I never slept, except one time, sophomore year, Christmas 2013. Before Christmas. Okay. Here's another clip about a student who fell asleep in school suspension when he was supposed to be doing his work. But what happened next really stunned me when I first watched it, so let's take a look.
When a student is sleeping in class, they're ignoring the number one reason why they're there, and that's to learn. Have a seat. The reason I'm talking to Brennan this morning is that he was sent to in-school suspension for refusing to take a test, and then he fell asleep in in-school suspension. I got a call from in-school suspension that you're sleeping, and let me finish here. The supervisor's going, Brendan's fallen asleep in in-school suspension. In-school's not a place for you to rest.
I told her I wanted to come in here. She wouldn't let me in.
Please don't interrupt me, okay? Don't raise your voice. We're just talking here.
I've had a bad week, dude. I've just been tired. I've been working late, and I just haven't been able to get a lot of sleep, so.
Well, where are you working right now?
I'm doing like my own little landscaping thing.
Midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you're mowing lawns and digging weeds?
More like pulling out trees.
You're pulling out trees at
I've
midnight?
been pulling out stumps for like the past week now.
At midnight?
It takes all day to pull out a big stump, dude. You know, they're big stumps.
That's good stuff. But it cannot be taken away from school.
Honest to God, I don't think I should even be in here right now.
You know what, Brandon? Get the dang test and get it done. You think you can do that?
Yeah.
I don't want you back in the office. Take care of business. Thank you.
Two most important things are making money and sleeping. I need to find a job that will let me do both.
That's just one of the causes of sleep. And when we come back, we'll tell you more about the causes of people sleeping in class. But first also when we come back, we're going to give you an update from Uvalde.
Matt Howard said it's been pouring over the...
Now for an update on the Uvalde case. There are big takeaways from the newly released shooting. Let's take a look.
Matt Howard said it's been pouring over the details. Matt, what are the big takeaways?
Well, Chris Dizzy, lots of new info in this report, something we didn't know until we read it today. An officer asked to shoot the gunman, had him in his sights, but the shot was too risky. We'll get to that here in a second, but first, let's talk about who put this report together. The group is called ALERT, or the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training Center. They train school districts across Texas when it comes to active shooter events, so their insight here is incredibly valuable. According to ALERT, a Uvalde officer with the rifle actually had the gunman in his sights, as we said before, he entered the school, but waited to pull the trigger. Instead, he asked for permission to take the shot. He didn't hear a response, so he turned to his supervisor. When he turned his back, the shooter was out of sight. The officer was within his legal right to use force without permission at the time, but to be fair, he was almost 150 yards away. He did comment that he was concerned that if he missed, he could have hit the school and injured students. Another instance, a responding officer actually drove by the gunman in the school's parking lot, but he was going so fast, he didn't notice him. The report also noted that officers could have tried to breach the classroom through an adjacent wall or through its windows, but didn't. Instead, after taking fire, they retreated, waited for more weapons, even keys, to ensure they could enter the classroom. DPS says that classroom was unlocked the entire time. Now, we spoke with Craig Miller. He's a former police chief for DISD and a former deputy chief for Dallas PD. He said it wasn't totally inappropriate to retreat after taking fire, but that officers shouldn't have stood down then and there. Instead, tactically regrouped and confront the gunman once again.
They still had a situation where they had people who were either injured or we heard shots continue throughout this time period, and they had a duty and a responsibility to go in and try and protect those people and then treat the injured people.
And families in Uvalde are demanding that body camera footage from that day be released. They want to see what happened with their own eyes. That footage likely won't be released directly to the media for some time, but Miller says families should be shown it privately and that it also be a source for training as well. Back to you.
And yeah, it should be a source of training. When we come back, more Give Me a Break with more sleeping in class, the cause of sleeping in class. But first the question is, what's next after the hearings? We'll answer that question. So after what happened in Uvalde with the kids being injured, being shot, and the police chief resigning from city council and placed on administrative leave from the school district, what is next after these hearings? Let's watch.
Heartbreaking report after a heartbreaking shooting. The Texas Senate and House, they held those committee hearings into what really happened in Uvalde that day. But the big question here is what comes next? What happens now? Political reporter Jack Fink is getting answers for you. And Jack, we know you spoke with some lawmakers today. Can you tell us what they're saying about all this?
Well, Nicole, lawmakers we spoke with sit on one of the House committees that held the recent hearing into the deadly mass shooting in Uvalde, and they told us what they want the state to do in response. Legislative committees are in the process of developing recommendations for the legislature and Governor Greg Abbott to consider. Following Uvalde, Democratic State Representative Retta Bowers says she wants to see more equipment and training for school law enforcement officers.
There's certainly shields for our ISD police, as well as, for me, it would be tactical training. There has to be more protections when it comes to our kids and our teachers.
Republican State Representative Tony Tinderholt says school districts need to conduct high-quality security audits, and the state should implement real accountability to make sure schools follow through.
What I'd like to see is schools prioritizing security over large football fields and natatoriums for swimming. Prioritize, make sure the children are safe, and then go to sports programs and things like that.
Tinderholt owns a company that provides security for schools and businesses. He says districts need to make sure their schools' exterior doors are locked and buy sensors and cameras that show them when those doors are left open. Tinderholt also says there should be a school resource officer at every campus, and the state has the money to pay for it. A CBS News YouGov poll conducted for CBS DFW showed wide support for increasing background checks, raising the age to 21 to buy an AR-15 or a similar rifle, and red flag laws. Bowers agrees.
We're going to have to hear some things that either side is not going to like, but we have to find common ground.
Tinderholt says lawmakers need to abide by the Constitution.
Right, our job as legislators is to protect those rights. I'm going to hear what people have to say. But again, we need to be very careful what we do and how we do it.
Another House hearing will be held next month. Both representatives, Bowers and Tinderholt, say they want Governor Abbott to call them back into a special session once all of the investigations are completed and they've had a chance to review and respond. You can watch their full interviews on our website, cbsdfw.com. Go to videos and Jack Fink interviews. Nicole?
And the council answered their questions. We'll get that for you probably sometime on Friday. But what we talked about earlier in our back to school month was sleeping in class. We've seen 2 videos, 3 videos actually, all about sleeping in class. From a skit to 2 students, one who didn't get punished, another who had in-school suspension. Now, the causes of it range from playing video games all night, hanging out with friends, watching TV, working overnight, being at a store that's like 24 hours a day. But there is an animated story that from Stanley Animations from a few months ago. Let's watch that one.
$1 Patreon! Enjoy the video! I used to be dead asleep in school. And when I mean dead asleep, I mean dead asleep. Tombstone where they bury me, by the river they will carry me asleep. It also doesn't help that I have the ability to sleep anywhere. I've fallen asleep in clubs, house parties, birthdays, funerals. I'm in the casket using bro as a body pillow. That is how seriously I take my sleep. So if I can fall asleep in those scenarios, just imagine how easy it is to fall asleep when the teacher pulls pulls out that cart, plays Osmosis Jones, turns off the lights, and you sit in the back of the class. That's like taking Steve Harvey, putting him on a game show, and telling him not to ask misleading questions. Name something your wife is only good at with her mouth. Giving head. G-Skis, we landed another one. Big shout out to World of Warships for sponsoring today's video. World of Warships is a free-to-play team-based sea battle game on PC. The game is filled with strategies to make sure that you come out with a win. World of Warship provide their over 400 historical ships that you can control, customize to your liking, while also providing beautiful maps and living landscapes with stunning graphics and weather changes in the battle. There are 5 different warship classes to choose from. You can conquer the ocean using battleships, destroyers, aircraft carriers, or cruisers. And if being on top of water get too dangerous, you can dive into the game using submarines. See what I did there? It has new content released every month, whether it's a ship, in-game nation, cosmetics, or even ship classes. You can always count on enjoying fresh gameplay experiences in World of Warships Masters 12v12 arenas. Make sure you download World of Warships using the link in my description for everlasting fun. Use promo code FIRE to get 200 doubloons, the premium battleship USS Texas, 20x Restless Fire camouflage, 1 million credits, and 7 days premium account. Thank you, World of Warships, for sponsoring this video. Name something your wife is only good at with her mouth. Giving head. It's crazy because when I fall asleep in those situations, I could have promised I slept on a desk, not the Drool-Atlantic Ocean. Forget a puddle. I just drooled a 5-star resort out of my mouth. I'm at my desk looking like A Boogie without the hoodie, wrist so icy, wonder why she let me bit. I'm drowning in my drool. And then you wake up having to do that wipe of shame, hoping that nobody saw it. Also, speaking of hoodies, why are schools still tripping on that? I've seen people air out schools like AC units in plain white tees and jean shorts. The people who want to do the crime they're scared of aren't trying to get away with it. The only thing I'm trying to get away with is taking a nap and getting my high school degree. Not first degree, but teachers be so extra with the sleeping stuff. Like, no joke, I fell asleep in my math class during a lesson my sophomore year. When I wake up, the whole entire class was gone. The lights were off. I didn't even know what time it was because I was such in a daze. Now, the type of person I am, I rationalize things very easy. If I'm in a class, it's dark, and there's nobody around, what you think I'm gonna do? Go to sleep? I went back to sleep. You're not finna hand me a golden opportunity and expect me to reject it. I'm taking my backpack and I'm using it as a blanket. And the teacher had the nerve to come back to me from, I don't know, his prank, mad at me. Like, bro, this was your idea. Which reminds me, back in English class, I used to have this huge teacher who looked like a dumpling, so we're gonna call him Mr. Dump. Obviously, I fell asleep in Mr. Dump's class during a read-along, because for the past 3 pages, he kept picking the hood niggas who can't sound things out to read the passage. But how do you expect me to stay awake during that? When they have more trouble reading a book than Stevie Wonder, they read like 1 word per minute. And when Mr. Dump noticed I was asleep, he slammed the textbook on my desk as loud as possible. And here's what I do.
My bad.
You would think an apology was good enough, right? Nope. I got sent to the office, and guess what I did there? Yup. Out. I don't play about my sleep. Even when the teacher would be active and have my full attention, all it takes is 1 yawn, bro. Just 1 little and it's light. Why is it so contagious? It takes more effort to hold in a yawn than it does for McDonald's employees to fix an ice cream machine. Not to mention the dumb face you end up making to hold it in, it's not even worth it. But when I get home, I'm up the entire night. The Sandman himself couldn't get me to go to sleep. Mike Tyson himself couldn't get me to go. Jesus himself could not get me to go to sleep. But somehow, as soon as the first bell rings to start the period, it's over. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you're someone who struggles to go to sleep, go to a high school class, ask the teacher to pull out that cart, play some Osmosis Jones, turn the light off, sit in the back of the class, and I promise you, you will have the best sleep you've ever had. Hey, we back at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about how I be sleeping in class. If you could relate, make sure you drop a like down below, comment down below. Let's talk about it. And follow me on my social media, Instagram right here, Stanley_animations. With that being said, it's a wrap. Fade to black. I definitely stood on the chair for the outro.
Sometimes it's a prank. Let's take a look at our last video.
When you hit a supply curve and you have to, we need to, she's sleeping. She's sleeping right now. Guys, I got a great prank, alright? Alright, guys, we all gotta do this, alright? Stand up, alright? Stand up. Let's go outside. We're gonna leave her in here alone, okay? She's gonna wake up and she's not gonna know what happened, alright? Just stay right out here. Don't move. This is gonna be so funny. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so funny. No. Sleep.
And that's why sleeping in class is not a good idea. You're missing a lesson. You're missed a lesson. You're up all night playing video games, this and that and the other, and you're gonna wonder why you're not getting enough sleep. You're cranky all the time. You're getting this and that and the other. 8 hours of sleep a day. That's it. That's why it's called school night. Sunday through Thursday is a school night. You can't be out all night. There's things called curfews. Try to understand that. All right. Coming up on Friday, pranks in class. A fart spray prank. And I'll tell you why pranks in schools is just so wrong as our back to school month continues. That's all this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday going to Thursday. We'll see you again, but Give Me a Break Friday. And I haven't got a response from Lisa L. I'll let you know soon. For all of us here on YouTube and Give Me a Break. Good night, everyone.